Okay, can we take our chairs, please, and get the Shared Services Committee meeting started? Okay, do I have a motion to approve minutes of our prior committee meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Mr. Montesi, seconded by Mrs. Bramer. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Okay. Today's meeting really is going to be about our superstar, Julie, who I've come to really appreciate the effort she does, as well as a number of other county employees. What we're going to do is, seeing that there's no new business or pending business, we're going to jump right into where we are. I'm going to let Julie take over because obviously that's where she's the one doing 99% and her department, which is the other two individuals. So, without further ado, I'm going to let Julie take over, and then we can intercede and ask questions as we go along. But Julie, it's all yours.
Okay, the first item I have on here is basically an update on the 2017 estimated savings. I've attached a copy of each municipality's estimated savings, and this is what we've tracked so far. I suspect that this is very conservative because we're not getting good numbers.
Why don't you just explain what you mean when you're saying not getting good numbers? Because this is important, and hopefully we can bring this information back to our towns and cities.
Right. Well, what we do is when we send out an estimate sheet and request estimates from the towns or the city or the village, we also ask that they put in their current pricing so that when we open the bids, we can compare our bid to the current pricing, and we automatically can attach that to our savings report once we do the award. It's been very, very difficult getting the current pricing. They send us back the estimates, but we're doing constant follow-up, 5, 10 emails trying to get the current pricing. And then when they do give us the current pricing, they don't give it to us on the estimate sheet that they originally provided their estimates on. And then it doesn't match, they'll send it in an email, and then the items don't match up with the original items they provided estimates for, or the pricing doesn't. So it's a constant battle, and it's very difficult for us, it's very time consuming for us to figure out what pricing is matching up with the items that they submitted estimates for.
So one of the things I'd like to get out of this meeting would be, and I wish we had every supervisor here, and I'll probably make some points at the next board meeting, but we need to get this information back to the towns, obviously, but more importantly to the individual departments. And I got to rely on the supervisors in this room to make sure that they're filling out the correct information. They're not giving the pricing, Claudia?
Is it a purchasing person, or is it the clerk, or who
It
do I go to and say, hey,
it could
come on?
be anybody. I mean, we are dealing with anywhere from 5 to 10 individuals at every municipality. It's not a centralized program or process.
I think the key here, Claudia, is the town supervisor is obviously ultimately responsible for their town, and so I think the ones that aren't here, in your case,
That makes it
Glenn,
tough at the city's level, but...
well, you have Mr. Jack Diamond, and that's a challenge in itself, and but I would.
I just mean in that Mr. Diamond himself is not a board member.
That's correct. That's why I'd ask you
Right.
or Matt
Yeah.
to relay, or Jim to relay that information to Mr. Diamond, because we got to get them on board. Glens Falls is one of the biggest benefactors of this whole program. It's amazing that you guys are all on board, but the mayor seems to struggle. And
Well, and it's not that they're not on board.
no, the people are correct.
They're providing estimates, but I mean, one thing, disposable food service items, they provided us estimates for that, but they're ignoring our request for their current pricing.
Right. We got to have the
So,
pricing. We got to know where we're going.
I suspect that's going to raise their savings significantly.
We'll reach out to them.
Thank you, Matt.
And what we did last week was we asked the purchasing agent to get a usage report from their current vendors. and we have not heard back from that. We thought that would be the easiest way for them to provide us with that pricing. You know, don't rely on, or don't have to go through your invoices or your system. Just ask the vendors for it. And we have still not been able to obtain that information.
Have all the municipalities seen this thing? This looks really useful. I mean, to compare what other towns are
I have
doing and-
handed that out in every packet that I have met. I've met with most of the towns at this point. They've all received a copy of that.
And the town should update some on this too, correct?
Yes, I would hope that they
Yeah.
would. And I can send an email. I can scan that in and send an email out to
Sure,
everybody
that's
with
my
that. So yes, I mean, like I said, we're tracking to the best of our ability.
You said you can scan them in, can't you just send, this is already, it's
That's a
within
Word
Excel?
Perfect. It's not in
Word
Excel.
Perfect?
Mhm. Yeah. I can.
They still make that?
They do, and it's our favorite. Everybody
Is it?
says, "Why are you still using it?" But
Because
I've
it
been
works.
using it for 22
Okay.
years.
you can send
but
it-
I know how to use Excel too. So.
That's right. Well, I have that, because it just makes it, then I can manipulate it and add to and send back.
I can certainly set up an Excel spreadsheet for every
Or even just send
municipality.
it through.
I can
Julie,
do both ways.
the number, I mean, for instance, I'm looking at the town of Hague, the previous 5-gallon bottles were $9, and the price that we negotiated is $2.79.
Correct.
That's incredible to think that we're, you know, that much of a saving. I mean, it looks like every town was paying $7 or $8 for a 5-gallon.
They were, and their savings are going to be substantial. I mean, even for, Bolton, they haven't even gotten into their summer season yet. So there was no way for her to give me an estimated quantity where they're supplying, you know, their lifeguards and their parks and rec people. So they were paying $8.95. They're going to be paying $2.79. That's going to
Right.
be a huge savings for the town. But, you know, they were paying delivery charges. All of our deliveries included in our bids. It's quantity.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And
So that's
it's
the whole
scale.
idea behind this effort.
Is it the same company that's doing the water for all
Yes.
of the towns?
Yes.
What company?
It's Crystal Rock. They do the county bid, and we've extended that bid to all of our towns, our municipalities.
Okay, yes, Mr. Conover?
Julie, did we finally decide to do with Clear Lane Salt? I mean, I know that I don't think the county DPW bids it. Did we elect to let the municipalities purchase, are they getting that off state bid contract?
I actually have to talk to you about that because that is on NJPA contract.
Good.
So I just marked that in their catalog to talk to you about that. And now if you're going to be a member, you have another option.
Very good, because that's where, if you recall, the presentation done by Central New York,
Mhm.
salt was like a huge part of their cost savings. Not all, but a
Mhm.
very large part of their cost savings.
And that's going to be another part of what we do is try to get everybody involved in NJPA and U.S. communities. That's kind of phase 2 of this whole thing. You know, Mr. Conover, you're ahead of the game at this point, I think, and in some respects. But
In every respect.
you're right. Your employees do call a lot. They communicate a lot with our office. So, you know, you can look through the savings reports. Certainly, if you want to follow up with me after.
What are some other points you want to make, Julie? I know getting the proper information filled out completely, that's important.
I gotta say that's probably the biggest challenge that we're having right now, is getting the information. You know, it seems to be there's a lack of communication between staff members at the town or employees at the town. I'm getting phone calls from one department, well, 2 different departments that should be talking to each other before they call me. you know, I should be the final phone call after decisions are made at the town level. So I'm making phone calls back and forth to straighten things out when I shouldn't have to do that.
And that's, just a second, Mr. Montesi, that's a key point. You know, I've been down at her office a number of times now, and it's a very busy office, which they all are in our county. But, and one of the things I wrote on her evaluation is just, you need to delegate more, and you need to be a little more assertive. And the towns, she does such a great job, they know that if they give a phone call to her, she'll have an answer. The problem with that is she's already sent out the information to them in an email or some other type of format. And so, you know, sometimes employees take the shortcut, don't read the emails, don't read the information, and then she's getting these phone calls constantly from different employees. And I've seen it, and then she says, well, I already sent that to you a couple times, and, you know. So all I'm asking is if we can get just a little more cooperation from each town in the process of them coming to their own answer before they contact her, it'll make the whole process a lot more efficient, and we can even go further along with the savings because she'll have more time available, hopefully, knock on wood, to dig in even further. But that's where we're getting bogged down right now. It's an inefficient process we have right now because of so many picking up the phone just and asking her instead of just reading the information they've already been sent.
Right, and I know that I send out some lengthy emails, but it's to give you as much information as you will need to move forward or to get me the information I need back. You know, I get responses that might answer half of my questions, and then I'm following up, well, you answered my first question, but what about the other 3 that followed it? So, I mean, we could just save so much time if everything was answered in one email versus going back and forth as many times as we have to get the information that we need.
Mr. Montesi?
Julie, the town of Queensbury has its own water treatment plant, and I'm sure there's a substantial amount of chemicals that we use there. Have they been cooperative, or have you gotten numbers there that you could?
We have not from the town of Queensbury. And they said they would consider jumping on board if the city did. Well, the city did, but we still haven't heard anything from Queensbury. And Danielle actually has to do a second bid because we didn't get numbers, or we didn't get bids on all of the items we bid last time, so she's putting out a second one. And we have to add some items for the Village of Lake George.
So, was that the town supervisor or the town board or the director of the water treatment plant saying they're not going to get on until the city does? Who made that decision?
That was a call from the water treatment plant operator, I believe, Chris Harrington.
Maybe John Strauss should be involved in this
But John
process.
should be getting all the emails from
Okay.
Danielle, so he should be aware. I'll confirm that when I go back, but
Okay.
she typically sends it to all of our contacts at the town. That would be she typically contacts the facility and copies the supervisors.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's the job of the supervisor and the town board to tell the director of the water treatment plant, "Yeah, this is what we want you to do."
Right.
Does-
And we were told by Glens Falls that we gave them some of the lowest bid prices that they've ever seen. So, I mean, $21,000.
Jumps on board, that might drive it down even lower.
Mhm.
Good. Mr. Conover?
Yeah, Julie, just, I know you know most of this, that's not all of it, but we're all in the process now of ordering our salt for next year.
Mhm.
If it hasn't already been ordered. And because I think you need to order by a certain date, and then part of the requirement there is that each town has to utilize some percentage of that annually. Let's say 80%. I think that's the number, but the point's made. And so we have to utilize 80% of it. And so once we make that order, we're locked into that order for an entire year.
Mhm.
It would seem to me that, some thought needs to be given to, well, like, for example, the county. Is the county county going out to bid for its own salt, or is it utilizing state?
We are utilizing state still,
bid.
yeah,
State bid on that, because it's even a bigger volume.
right.
I see.
And I did do some research on other counties that have done their own salt bids, and they're not, I don't know why they're doing it, because they're not beating the state contract pricing.
Really?
So, I don't know, it could be that they don't have that requirement where they've got to use so much and then pay a storage fee if they don't use all that. Maybe they're willing to pay a little bit more, I don't know. But right now, we are continuing with the state contract.
Well, I was just wondering, sure, the co-op, whether the co-op's requirements on purchase are the same as through the state. In other words, you have to utilize 80% or you have to pay storage to carry it from one year to the next.
I have to pull up those contracts. But like I said, I just found that in the catalog, and I marked it so that I could talk to you about that first. And
Thank you.
What else, Julie? Concerns or ways we can all
well,
make
I
this more
mean,
efficient?
what I did as Schedule B was I attached a copy of my most recent email to the municipalities with 5 major concerns. It kind of sums it up. You know, we talked about the pricing so we could track the savings, giving us the correct information.
Julie?
Yeah.
Under the training on town bid system, is that what you did when you came up and met with us?
Yes.
Okay.
You've
So
met
we're-
with everybody now, correct, Julie?
We're down to 5.
Down to 5, great.
I'm doing the town of Lake George tomorrow.
Beautiful.
Because
Because they need some help.
well,
They do.
I'll see what I can do.
$250, I mean, there's a lot of savings there that can be had, that's all I'm saying.
right. Well, I'm meeting with, I believe they gave me 6 individuals to set up in the system.
Good.
So I'll be meeting with them at 9 tomorrow.
Who else do you need to meet with? You're down to 5, that'll be down to 4.
Johnsburg, Hague,
Sounds-
Thurman, and Frank's not required to, but Stony Creek if they would like to.
If you'd like to,
have
Frank, that'd be great. If you'd like to have Julie come up or whatever.
That was responded to.
Okay.
So it's about the flow of information, and I lay awake at night trying to figure out ways to, you know, streamline the process.
Are these just reported savings?
These are the ones that I've been able to track through my office. If you guys know of more, certainly let me know so I can add them to it. Like the highway material bids. Jason sends those out. We have no idea what you guys are actually purchasing.
Right.
If you bought last year through contractors that we don't use, but you're using our bids this year, we have no idea if that's providing you savings or not. So you guys know more than we do. You know, all we
So
know
this
is,
you just need to report from the towns on what ones we're using off your bid sheets.
right. And if you have your current or your previous pricing,
Yeah.
then,
I gotta find somebody to do it. That's my problem.
well, I mean, Ed has provided some, like your
Yeah,
Sanders
I saw that in
chains
the chains and some in the galvanite, but
right.
I don't understand the engine lubricants and that stuff.
Engine lubricants I already have. I already have that one. And you guys were using our bid last year, so
So
you're
we're
breaking
not
up
showing savings. Okay,
Correct.
I got it.
Um,
And we'll start on the water chemicals, treatment chemicals.
That's a big opportunity there, correct?
Yeah.
Water
The
chemicals,
water
I mean.
chemicals.
We have, yeah, Slack
yeah, but they
came-
participated, you just haven't given us your pricing yet.
Right, Slack,
Previous pricing.
Slack will get some, but then we have to change for a different supplier for some.
Mhm.
What else, Julie?
The only other thing I had was just to report that I'm going to be attending, I actually go to my sample conference this week, but then Chairman Beatty, Acting Administrator Garrity, and myself have signed a travel authorization form to go to a seminar for creative leadership in June at the Queensbury Hotel. And I'm hoping that gives me some additional ideas of how I can motivate some, you know, participants in this program to, pardon?
Maybe we should go.
Rachel Seaver took a copy of that. She goes, she had some other ideas of other individuals that may want to go. So, you know, and that's it partially talks about, you know, preventing burnout, and I know there's been times in the last 4 months where I've certainly felt that, and, you know, time management and delegating, and, you know, I think it's going to be a very valuable one-day seminar. And then my seminar in Albany this week is geared more specifically toward purchasing and, you know, course content that's related to that.
Julie, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Mr.
One of the things that I'm thinking about in terms of almost every water treatment facility in the county, whether it's town or the county or the city, there's a block of chemicals that they use, and you have the pricing, what you're paying, or right, for those chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering if you were to send that to specifically to one of the big users, has got to be Queensbury. Say, here's what the bid price is on these 3 or 4 chemicals. What are you paying?
We did that.
And nothing.
Well, we haven't heard back yet.
Oh.
But Danielle sent the new estimate sheet out and said, okay, here's our award for the current bid that we just awarded. We're going to be doing a second bid. If you want to participate, please let us know what additional chemicals you need. So at this point, Queensbury can piggyback on the bid that we've awarded, which they may be doing, and we don't know that.
Oh.
But we didn't get estimates from them
Okay.
to be included in the bid. Next time we might, if they said, hey, you know, we're paying a lot less than we were, we definitely want to be included next time.
Okay. So it's a matter
So
of
we're kind of
little
waiting right now.
communications with, okay, good.
Mhm.
I may recommend that you participate in the next board meeting for just 5 minutes, and so we can talk to all the supervisors at once, because as well as this is attended, there's about 8, 9 supervisors here. I think them all hearing the same message again can only help. So if you would mark down on your next, for 5 minutes at the next board meeting, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just give her 5 minutes just to see if we can get everybody on board with some things. Yes, Mr. Brock.
I don't know, was it 2 years ago that the people from
Onondaga County.
I talked to them and they said that we could use their bids, we could join with their bids, like for water or whatever, to get an even bigger pool. Have you talked to them at all about doing that?
The problem with that is delivery. I mean, they're using companies that are closer to them. We're going to get charged a higher delivery fee, and the vendors have to agree to charge the same price to us as they do to Onondaga County. I haven't contacted the vendors yet, but I certainly can do that.
I mean, if we can take a larger value, you know, we can see if the cost, you know, if the cost is low enough to take into the added delivery costs, or whatever, I don't know. Maybe you don't want our business enough.
It's worth looking into.
Yeah, and we have purchased vehicles off their bids. I can tell you that.
Right.
We do look at all that.
Mr. Leggett.
I'd like to make a motion on item B, attending creative leadership for managers.
Make you, do we
We
have?
don't even need to vote
You
on that.
don't need that?
No, that was just an informational.
That's our new policy, she can just go. right?
Well, that's, wow, streamlined.
It makes Craig feel better.
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. Mr.
Let's
McDonald?
support our.
Yep, Julie, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Julie, I sent an email to Debbie Vaughn over at Glens Falls requesting that information for you.
Oh,
So
thank you.
just a friendly reminder, so hopefully maybe they can get that over to you.
Okay.
Mr. Conover?
So just quickly on the water chemical chemicals, is that mostly chlorine? Liquid chlorine?
No, it varies.
varies.
We awarded 5 chemicals under the current bid. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure which ones we didn't get bids on, but Danielle's gonna rebid those, add some other ones, and she's gonna see if we have any others, that still need to be added. I know the Village of Lake George said they were using one chemical, well, and we put that in our bid. Turns out they're using another chemical. This was another issue. So luckily, we didn't get a bid on that first one, and we're gonna rebid what they are actually using. The other thing that I had her send an email out on, and it had to do with the water treatment chemicals, and you guys probably know better than I do, is gas cylinders. You know anything?
We just moved from a gas chlorination system to a liquid chlorination system.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
There were quite a few towns
If
that...
you're utilizing a gas chlorination system, then you would have to have, you would have to have that product.
There were quite a few towns that did have that marked, so I had her send out an email to possibly do a bid for that as well. So that might be another bid that we put out relative to the water treatment facilities. So we're
Okay, so,
moving slowly but surely.
well, you're doing a great job. So just to recap, we're gonna have her participate in the next county, board meeting for about 5 minutes, so she can talk to all the supervisors. I think that can only help, it can't hurt. I think I totaled the numbers a little over 56,000, and I think that's on the low side probably. Is that correct, Julie?
It's very conservative. I mean, I didn't come up with that.
I was just eyeballing it.
But it would be if we were already using your bids, right?
Right.
So
I came up with just over 52,000. Well,
52,000.
52,692 is what I came up with. But like I said, if I had the city disposable items and janitorial, I think that's going to drive that number way up.
And your WB Mason, just the...
WB Mason, yeah, we're just in the first 4 months of this year, the county alone has saved about $13,000 because I expanded our bid, our item list last year, and split it between our bid and state contract pricing. So I'm going to continue to track that throughout the year. Hopefully that continues on trend.
Are there any other questions? Keep up the great work. We've got nothing else on the agenda.
Yeah, Ron's asked me to address the consolidation efforts on the state, and how you...
Okay. Do you want to do that now, or?
Yeah, I'll do it right now.
Okay.
First, I'm opposed to the governor's plan. I got to make that known. I thought we had a very good consolidation plan. They've come up with an elaborate scheme that the goals are to start this year. You don't have to present your plan to the state until 2018. Quite frankly, all I've been doing is reading a lot of dialogues. There's a county administrators meeting this week out in Syracuse. I'm going to wait till they finish up with that to see. Some counties have already started these meetings with all the towns to get the town supervisors involved in it, and you're supposed to have 3 public hearings on the thing. I think it's a joke, because I think we've already done most of it. You know, if anybody has a countywide idea that you'd like to present to me, get it to us sometimes. I mean, but I haven't seen anything coming out than a lot of work for certain people. And Department of State is running this, and they don't even know how to answer the questions yet. But stay tuned. The timeline is supposedly September. Doesn't leave us a lot of times to get together these meetings with all the communities in the city and the village, and I guess the school districts can opt in also. But you know, I will listen to suggestions if anybody has any suggestions of I have a couple ideas for countywide, something we could do countywide to involve all the towns. But I think it's a lot of make work for a few people, And I'm right up front with you, I do not have the time to do this. Not in acting administrator and doing my job as a town supervisor, I don't. But I've asked Joanne if she would chime in, and we're starting to get the information in, but it's a lot of make work for I just don't understand. You know, Julie has a program we're doing with purchasing. It's working, but it's just another thing, and I'm very disappointed that our legislative leaders in our area signed on. Some of them did, some of them didn't, but they signed on because it was part of the budget. Just so you know, it hinged on a lot of the budget information, so they voted for it. You know, I think our committee does a good job. You know, probably we'll have to involve them a little bit eventually in the future going forward, but you know, it's just another thing put on us at a local level that I don't think we needed at this time.
So this is above and beyond what we're already doing?
Absolutely, yeah. Requiring meetings and hearings, and
It seemed like we were ahead of the game on that.
well, you would have thought so. I thought everybody was, and you know, if you look at the list of most of the counties, they are pretty much ahead of the game. But
What do you?
I just want to, I mean, I haven't looked at it, so I don't know all the maybe busy work that it entails, but I know that when we pushed harder to do some of this, like Glens Falls is seeing huge savings, that they were just, you know, those were low-hanging fruit that we weren't going after. So while it may seem kind of like a pain in the neck, and we may seem like we're ahead of the game, I think there are still opportunities to find ways for the county to consolidate and save everybody money, especially for the city when our taxes are really high.
Good point. Any other comments?
we should make Ms. Bramer chairman to
We
get
will-
it all done and go
We
out.
will
and meet
make
with
her
the-
point person on that, on leading the charge. She's a very sharp lady. If there's no other discussion, motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Montesi, second by Mr. McDonald. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Adjourned.